Okay, so we've got our round counting down. We then want to make something happen when our round ends. And what we're going to do for now is just make a simple little round ending screen to pop up in our game. At the moment, we're not actually going to have anything on it. We're just going to make it say, hey, the round is over. But we will add some stuff to this as we go a little bit further into our scoring system and things like that. So with that in mind, I'm going to go to my canvas. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a UI. We'll add a UI panel. And we're going to call this the round over panel. I'm going to replace the background default object that we have here with our UI, our block BG here. I'm going to make it not transparent because I don't want it to be transparent. And then I'm going to drag the size down a little bit, like so. Oops. Like so. I'm going to make sure it's right in the middle. And then I'm going to add a little bit of an outline to it. So I'm going to add component and I'm going to type outline. And I'm going to make this not transparent at all, and I'm going to make it a little bit blue, and we're going to make it a bit bigger, so 10 by 10. There we go. So we just have a bit of an outline around this thing. And then on this panel, we're going to just add a little bit of UI Text Mesh Pro. That'll just say, call this round over, and it's just going to say round over in big capital letters. We'll make it bold. We're going to turn auto size on. We're going to make it, again, a nice dark gray. I'm going to put it a maximum of 300 in size, and then we're going to drag it out nice and big, like so. And we're going to move it up right to the top here. Okay, so now we know we have a little message saying that the round is over. Let's center align that as well. And we're obviously going to need a reference to this in our UI manager so we know to activate it. I'm going to deactivate it by default, of course, because we want to be able to see our game when we're playing. Then on our UI manager, we're going to add a public game object called round over screen, like so. And we'll just save this and we'll just hook this up right now so that we don't accidentally forget to do it for some reason. And then in our round manager, we're going to pop that one in there. And then what we're going to do is make it so that this will appear in our round manager script when our level is over. But we don't want to directly make it do it in here because we want to have a function that will allow us to actually end the level, because we want to be able to do a few more things with it when we get a bit further. So we're just going to add that function in now and add more functionality to that as we go further on. So we're going to create a private void that we're going to call win check, like so. And we're going to add a UI, or we're going to say in the UI manager dot round over screen set active true. So we're activating that screen to appear when we run out of time. And then in the round time here, where it gets to less than or equal to 0 here, we're just going to call our win check. Okay, so that's all great, but let's go back in here and let's see what's going on. There's a couple of things we want to have happen in this, and at the moment we're going to have a few little issues with what we've got. So I'm going to put this at 5 seconds just for now, just to make it count down. So it'll count down as 5 seconds, and we'll show our little screen. Oh, no screen came up. Why did no screen come up? Why did no screen come up? That should, we do our win check. Round over screen is activated. Did I assign the right thing? No, I send round manager into that slot. There we go. Round over panel should be the right one. Let's try this again. So counts down to 1, 0, and boom, there we go. We get it coming up. That's great. But what about if we're playing this? So let's say 3, 2, 1, last second, I do a move. Oh, there's more gems coming in. There could be more there's more matches happening and things like that. But our screen is up, so we don't get to see any of that happening. So that's not really great. We don't want that to happen. So we obviously need to stop that from happening. And one other thing that we also want to stop is, just in case for some reason the screen isn't covered and maybe there's a gem visible, we don't want our player to actually be able to do any movements while that screen is up too. So we're going to need to do a couple of extra changes. So let's go back into our scripts. And first of all, I'm going to go to my gems and make sure that I can't do anything while we're in the gems here. So in my on mouse down here, I want to do an extra check to find the round manager. Or it's not that the round manager, to make sure that the round manager time is greater than 0. So to basically make sure that there is time remaining. So to do that, I'll obviously need a reference to the round manager. We don't want to make every single gem have to automatically find the round manager. Instead, it's much easier to make a reference to it on the actual board here. So let's go up the top and we're going to create a private, not a private, a private, nope, not pivot. There we go, third time's the charm. Private round manager that we'll call round man. And then in our awake here, we'll find that. So round man equals find object of type round manager, like so. And if I just quickly save that, then back in our gems, when we press the mouse down here, we can say as long as the board state is in move and board dot round. Oh wait, sorry. This should be a public variable, of course, because we want to be able to access it from outside. So we'll make it public, but we'll hide it in the inspector because we don't need to be assigning it ourselves. So here we now we can say board.roundman dot round time is greater than 0. So as long as our time is greater than 0, we can start a slide. But also we want to say as long as time is greater than 0, we can end a swipe. I mean, not a slide. So now we're making sure that we can't move any gems when the time has ended, so that's perfectly fine. But the other more important thing is we don't want to show that round ending screen when more matches are happening in our game. So if we go back to our round manager, what we're going to do is add an extra bool value in here. We're going to add a private bool called ending round, which we're going to set to be false by default. And then what we're going to do is, instead of just setting win check to happen, we're going to say our time is ended, so we should be trying to end the round. So ending round equals true. And then in here we're going to do a check to see if we're ending the round, so if our time basically is gone down to the value, and on our board, oh wait, no, sorry, I need to add an actual reference to the board. I forgot I hadn't added it in up here just yet. So we'll add a private board value that we'll just call board. And then in the awake, we will find it. So board equals find object, nope, find object of type board. And then down here we can say, as long as we're ending and the board dot current state is equal to board dot move. So basically, as long as we're not waiting, remember we're waiting when there's basically action happening, and as long as we're not waiting, then we can do our win check. So we can check if we're winning, if we've won the game, and also at that point we'll say that our ending round is equal to false. Okay, so let's save that. We'll go back into Unity and we should see this stuff working nicely for us now. So if I go ahead and play, if I start a match with just 1 second to go, we should see now it'll wait for things to drop into place, and we've got some matches, and then once it finishes, then we get our round over message appearing. If I just make it so that our little round over panel here is not quite as big, like so we don't have the gems covered up, we're just going to make it so that the round over will appear, and there we go, our time is over. So now I can no longer do any swipes, no action will happen, so we can't accidentally get any new matches going after the time has run out. So perfect, that's our round ending system, the basics of it in place. So now we need to start adding more stuff to make the interactions of our rounds feel that bit more fun.